You know.
It's amazing. Yeah, you have to be in good form at all times.
Yeah.
You know, gotta make sure to
Right.
nothing in your teeth.
Release that stuff on DVD though.
Ah, it's, well, it's amazing. It's kind of cool though, you know, that people do that. They archive for you.
Yeah.
You can go wherever you want to go, Adam.
Okay. I said my first thing I saw for this amazing new record though was something you put out yourself. I don't know if it was the label or, you know, but your recording of Older Now. That turned up online, and I think that's spread around. That was just beautiful and amazing. If you can talk about just, you know, what reaction you got initially from this record, because I know this record means a lot to you.
Yeah.
What was the initial reaction like for you from what people, you know, close to you were saying and colleagues and?
Well, you know, Little Moon was made pretty quickly, you know, and it was done in a fashion that was, you know, somewhat out of date, I suppose. You know, we did it all live in the studio together, you know. Same way they would have done it, you know, in the 30s, or and I was very fortunate. I had a great group of musicians with me, you know, Jay Belrose, Paul Bryan, Jamie Edwards, and we went into the studio and we cut this stuff live in about 2 or 3 days, you know, a few little overdubs afterwards. But one of the things I tried to do as I went about it was to capture some of the performances on videotape, you know, and a friend of ours came along and she held a video camera, took some pictures, and you know, I wound up putting that up on YouTube, you know, just something to share with the fans and bring them into that process. And I think it went a long way to personalize the whole situation, you know, and to demystify it.
Yeah, yeah. You mentioned how this was actually recorded very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you had the songs, you've been living with these songs for a while.
Yeah.
But to me, and these are great songs, to me, you know, all your songs are great. All the songs you've ever written are great. I always wonder why it isn't so hard to always do that. You have some great songs, you pop into a studio and just kind of knock them out. What made this one different where you wanted just to have that feel and go in there and do it that way?
I've gone about it so many different ways, you know. In terms of production, I've tried it from so many different approaches, and becoming a new dad in 2008, I think that sort of pushed me into a new direction. You know, for one, you know, you just don't have that luxury of time to sit there, you know, with your Beethoven-like brow, you know, pulsating. You kind of have to do things, you know, whenever you have a chance, you know. And so I didn't force it. I let the songs sort of write themselves. And if it meant that they were ready in a week or 2 weeks or 2 years, then that was fine. You know, I really gravitated towards the songs that were the most natural and the ones that I enjoyed the most. You know, the ones that delighted me. I think that has a lot to do with it. You know, with it feeling so at ease and fun.
Mm-hmm. And that informed the lyrics as well, and what you were trying to say on this record, being a father and all the things you just talked about.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, you get a whole new perspective as a father, especially, you know, this late in life. You know, I've been at it for a long time. You know, and I don't know. I guess I've picked up a few pointers along the way. You know, as you travel through this world, you can never bring enough socks, things like that, you know, little axioms that I post-it notes in my head. But when you become a dad, you realize that, you know, this is all a lot more urgent than we might have imagined when we were younger, you know. And so yeah, I tried to write songs that were very genuine and totally from the heart, and bypass the big throbbing brain that I've been given.
Now, you have been relatively prolific, though, even though you said it's a new sense of urgency. You put out roughly a record a year since you've been doing this, right?
Something like that. You know, it varies. You know, a year to 2 years seems to be about the rate. You know,
Mm-hmm.
You put an album out, and often for me, you know, the album comes out, and by the time it does, you know, by the time it's been put into the plastic and on the shelves, I've already started on another record. You know, I've started writing one at least, and when I get out and tour, you know, I find myself all on my own and nothing to do except for write songs, you know. And so that's how it goes, you know. In the case of Little Moon, I feel like it would be ideal to share it with as many people as I can, you know. So I'm not aching to go in and record another album this week, you know. I mean, the album came out in October, and I'm just beginning to tour now, you know. And that's a good feeling, you know. I feel like these are the kind of songs that I'm going to be comfortable playing 10 years from now, you know. And that's the truth with a lot of the Grantley Buffalo stuff as well. Mm-hmm. You know, you can feel that as a songwriter. You know which ones are you know, are simply stations that you're passing through, you know, and the ones that are going to stick to you.
What's it like knowing at this point in your career that you are writing the best songs you've written in your career, that you have the chops and that still exists inside you to put out your best music at this point?
It's quite satisfying to, you know, the notion that you can actually get better at this thing that you've been doing for a long time, you know. I mean, certainly as a vocalist, I think my vocal cords have gotten stronger, you know. Maybe I've become wiser and I don't abuse myself in the same way. but I feel like I'm a better singer these days, and I feel more comfortable with the writing as well. I'm more conscious, you know, in terms of what I'm writing, but I'm also respectful that, you know, you can only force it along so much. You know, the best ideas, the best songs, they really write themselves, you know, and you stand back and you take credit for them, of course, you know, but, you know, you got to kind of get out of their way.
You say that, but when you're actually, when that song is writing itself, what's the process like for you? Is it ever laborious though? Is it ever, man, I got to get through this. This is something great, but it's going to take me a month on the road to perfect this? Or?
Oh goodness. Well, you know, I mean, there are songs that seem to never get finished, and I have a few like that. You know, sometimes you come back to them and you plead with them. Now, can we talk? And you know, it may not happen, and so they become mulch for other songs. You know, maybe that song becomes a bridge. You know, you decapitate it, and it becomes, you know, the component of another song. But yeah, sure. They always keep you guessing, you know. That's the maddening part of this job, you know. Just when you think you've got it figured out, you know. I've always likened, you know, writing a lyric, you know, especially when you got a really nice melody, trying to make that word fit that melody. It's like trying to gift wrap a lamp, you know, and hope that it doesn't look like this horrible monstrosity, you know. It's tough. It's tough work.
As you go on, are there certain expectations you feel like you need to live up to, either for yourself or for people that have become fans over the years that expect something from Grantley Phillips, a certain sense of humor, a certain wisdom, a certain viewpoint that you try to?
Well, you know what? I've always had a great deal of faith in the people that support my music and listen to me and follow me through whatever crazy corridor it may be, and I feel like I am being true to them if I really listen to my own muse, you know, and I really just follow my own path, you know. About the time I try, you know, second guessing what they want or what radio wants, then I know that I've let myself down, and I've consequently let down everyone who ever believed in, you know, what I'm doing. So that's about the only gauge that I have, you know. It's a hard thing to hang on to, though, you know. But yeah, you try to be true to yourself.
For people that don't know, you spend a lot of time playing live and on tour.
Yeah.
You know, around the world, as well as doing residencies at different venues and things like that. Just talk about what life is like for you at this point in terms of how many shows you do a year, and why that's still important to you to get out there and play for the folks.
Oh goodness. Well, I mean, it's a lot of fun, and when I'm in the midst of performing, you know, time just sort of melts away, you know, and I can wind up being on stage for 3 hours. I don't know, you know, I lose track of time, you know. It's the Springsteen effect. I think that's what it's technically called, right? But you know what? I don't tour as much as I used to, you know. I mean, in the '90s with Grantley Buffalo, we seemed to tour a whole bunch, and you know, shuttle forward to the present, you know, being a dad, you know, kind of wanting some balance in my life, you know. I tend to go out for periods as long as 12 days at a time, something like that, and then I got to get home, you know. Again, you can only bring so many socks on the road. Then they charge you for that stuff, $50 a sock or something like that.
Sure. Would you do a children's record now with your daughter? Any chance of putting out a...
Would I do a children's record? I think in some ways I've always been doing children's records. Yeah, I mean, I think Mighty Joe Moon may have been a children's song, and Mockingbirds and a lot of them. Yeah, you know, I mean, who knows? I wrote a few songs on Little Moon that were definitely inspired by my daughter and for her. I mean, the title track in many ways is like that. It's like a lullaby. There's a song called Violet on the album. Yeah, you know, I don't know. I mean, these days I'm kind of aching to do the loudest album I could possibly do as well. You know, I think I think I'm always looking for that strange balance. You know, I'll make my ukulele album, and then I want to make my, you know, my full-on guitar assault album now.
Right. This isn't an assault album, but that said, you do cover a lot of ground on this record.
I think it's somewhat varied. Yeah.
Yeah. Is there a certain pleasure in that, knowing that, you know, either by design or by chance, this album kind of covers the gamut of what, you know, people love about what you do and maybe what you love about your own music?
I plead guilty that I'm a child of the album era. You know, I grew up loving, you know, the albums of the Beatles and the Stones and REM and all of these bands that were capable of creating a wide array of music. You know, huge scope, and so I never could quite bring myself to write just one certain kind of song. You know, I think there's probably a through line, but you know, yeah, I've just always wrote lots of different types of songs, and it comes out that way. Maybe it's time for a double album, a gatefold sleeve, something like that. I wish I was that kind of writer sometimes, you know. There are those who do a certain thing, and they do it so darn well.
Talk about on an album or on a show, you, in regards to covering that kind of ground, you can go from being Mr. MC and the funniest, greatest host at a show that there ever could be, from doing a really heartfelt, beautiful ballad, to back out there telling a great story. Just talk about in your own, is that necessary for you to, is that part of being an entertainer that you enjoy most, to be able to cover that ground over the course of a night, over the course of a record?
Yeah, I think you could say that you know, there's a certain thrill seeker sort of aspect to what I do. You know, I wasn't someone who did, you know, motocross or you know, I never jumped over things. But there is there's a reliable sense of terror that is there with you every time you step out on a stage. You know, and a part of you just becomes sort of comfortable with that. You know, it's my version of Evel Knievel. You know. But yeah, it's there though. You know, sheer terror.
We're not going to see it on a celebrity.
No. I mean, I'm terrified. You know, behind the wheel of a Prius in Burbank. You know. But when I have a guitar in my hands, then I feel like I've got something to latch onto. You know, I have a purpose up there, and you know, there's like a little perimeter where I can pretty much do whatever I need to do, and it's, you know, all of it's somewhat legal when you call it performing. Yeah.
What's a given day like for you with your guitar? Are you always, even when you don't have a gig any given week, are you at home? Is the guitar in your hands every day doing something? Or
you know, if it's not a guitar, then it's probably like a ukulele or something like that. Yeah, I make a lot of noise.
Yeah.
You know, I get a certain amount of flack for that, but I'm always making noises. I can't help it. You know, it's my nervous tick. It's my way of dealing with anxiety, and it drowns out my rumbling stomach.
Gilmore Girls, now that that's in the past.
Yeah.
What's it like? Do you still get any people who recognize you just for that and come up to you for Gilmore Girls?
You know,
anecdotes or?
For sure. I mean, I run into a lot of people that discovered what I do through the Gilmore Girls. You know, a lot of them were 14-year-olds when it came out. You know, I mean, the show went for, goodness, 7, 8, 9 seasons, something like that. It's in syndication now, and yeah, made a few new fans that way. It's great, you know. And now they're old enough to get into the shows, so that's even better, you know. And some of them have the original Gilmore Girls backpack or lunch pail, and I'm always thrilled to see that.
See Gilmore Girls fans at Largo now. It's a different kind of thing.
That's right.
Yeah. Talk about, I only say this to artists that actually have the best work in front of them, but when you look at your discography now and you've added this to it, do you look at your work as a whole, as an artist that goes out there and plays songs from pretty much all your repertoire on a given week? Does it all come together at one point once the new music's out, or do you see those different eras in your head as the artist and kind of compartmentalize?
Well, I suppose I look at everything that I've done as being one long song, you know, and I keep on adding to it, you know. It's like the Winchester Mystery House, you know. I have to keep writing, otherwise, you know, the demons they'll catch up to me otherwise, and you know, it's something that's like you know, I have to do it, you know. I can't stop it. So when I get up on stage and I play, I really don't write a set list out, you know. I do, but I wind up sweating all over it, and I can't read it, and I can't see without my glasses, and so I just kind of go by whatever the mood in the room is. But no, I don't really differentiate between, you know, one song and the next. I don't have a favorite song or anything like that, you know. That's sort of the fun of it, you know. You get up there and you don't really know where it's going to go, you know. Sort of a jazz mentality, I guess. A jazz emotion, let's call it.
This album kicks off with just kind of a blatant, and it's a great video too. That's why I'm bringing it up, because we also have the video to show for Good Morning Happiness with the great animation.
Great.
It's obviously just a feel-good song.
Yeah.
If you can just kind of put into words what you were thinking in writing that, and how great it is to have it kind of kickstart this record for you.
Well, you know, I've written about such themes, you know, happiness before, but it wasn't always in the happiest way, you know. It was usually from an ironic standpoint. Very 90s of me, actually. But, you know, I was in sepia, and it was permitted. I wanted to write a song, you know, that just that really kind of captured that feeling of, you know, what it likes to be, what it's like to be I wanted to capture what it felt like to be a kid, you know, just waking up, you've got the whole world in front of you, you know, you got to tackle it all. And that's kind of where that song came from, you know. It's happy in a very genuine way, you know, it's bright in a genuine way. Nothing more depressing than a happy song that's secretly bitter and paranoid. You know, I don't want to write that kind of song.
You alluded to it, but if you just put in words again, I mean,
yeah, I could take
a kid, and I feel the same way after having, you know, my kids, opening a song like this and being energized and having music that energizes you. How that kind of has just kind of influenced everything you're doing now, because I think it's led to your best music.
Yeah.
And obviously the attitude you have now towards all and sundry.
Yeah, yeah. Generally speaking, I just think this is probably the most upbeat kind of record I've made, you know. It's upbeat, but it's still reflective, you know. I can't help but be that kind of person, you know. I'm, you know, frequently reflective and meditative, maybe a hair critical at times, you know. Haven't ever really figured out how to work a comb. I don't know what they do at dry cleaners. But, you know, I've learned a few things, and I feel like I'm making my best work now. Just letting it flow, you know. And Good Morning Happiness is, you know, kind of the perfect way to start off your day, or an album for that matter.
Perfect. It's the holiday season, and you've made an appearance as the Grinch before on vinyl.
Yeah.
You can talk. I don't know if you're part of these Amy Man shows this year at all, or.
Yeah, I've been asked to come down and, you know, participate. I became friends with Amy Man a good 10 years ago, something like that, you know. And since then, I've done a bit of singing on her albums. I did portray the role of the Grinch on her Christmas album, and consequently went out with her and did the whole Christmas tour the last couple of years, and that was a lot of fun. Yeah.
How are the holidays for you now at home? Do you bring out the Grinch at home now? Now that you
Well, you know, I've written my own holiday song. It's called Winter Glow. I sang on Amy's album. I think I'm slowly working at, you know, creating my own Christmas album. You know, unconsciously. I figure if I keep it up, probably by maybe 2024 or something like that, this thing is going to hit the streets, and it's going to hit it hard.
In little iTunes increments, right?
Yeah, that's right. It may take a while, but, you know, I mean, it's one of those things you hopefully can depend on.
Speaking of which, lastly, just how difficult is it now? You have such a great fan base, and people come out to you. I know people always support your music and support your shows, but just getting your music out there to the right people in this day and age of how have you navigated your way through the changes over the last few years to keep your music out and about and in people's living rooms?
One of the first things I did was to embrace the internet, you know. I made my first solo album about 1999, something like that, around the time that Y2K destroyed my garage door opener. But I anticipated the whole thing to be much more of a digital tsunami, you know, and you know, I began working on Pro Tools around that time, and just, you know, trying to educate myself about what all of this, you know, what all of it meant for a musician. And you know, GrantleyPhillips.com, you know, I was right out there with a website, and I began selling my first album online directly, you know. through CD Baby, and then through Rounder Records, you know, out of Boston, and now I'm with Yup Rock, and they're fantastic. You know, they've been great about knowing how to work the trenches, you know, and get the music that I make and the music, you know, that others make to the people that will get it, you know, because it's a changing territory every day, you know. I don't know what any of it means really. I just keep at it, you know. I think that's part of it, you know. You just kind of have to keep trudging forth.
And how concerned are you about the people who get your music out there now? Because it's still very, at this point in your career, you have fans probably of all shapes and stripes and stuff like that. Is it fun knowing your audience has grown to kind of encompass, you know, the old Grantley Buffalo fans to new people that know you from something else? And
yeah. I mean, I have people that, you know, have been with me for ages. You know, people that, I mean, in some cases, some of the first shows they saw, you know, were Grantley Buffalo songs way back. Or, you know, let me take that over. Can I have a bite of my drink? My mouth is so dry in this weather. I have fans that have been listening to me for, you know, forever, really, you know, since the first album by Grantley Buffalo, which was like '93. And, you know, some of them before that as well, you know, garage bands that I had, you know. And it's great, you know. You see some of these faces that you've been seeing, you know, turn up for ages and ages. I love that.
Very good, Grant.
Yeah. Thank
Well
you.
said.
We want to smile at the sun all bright. Yeah, maybe I'll try a little bit of Good Morning Happiness. It's not a bad idea. What the heck? Is that water mine?
Yes, yours.
Whenever you're ready, we're all set.
Okay. I'm gonna wake up with a smile. I'm gonna wake up with the sun all bright. I'm gonna wake up with a smile. Open the shade, let in the light. Good morning, happiness. Good morning, happiness. Good morning, happiness. What a fine day. I'm gonna wake up with the birds, the little birds that chirp away in song. I'm gonna wake up with the birds out of the bed, singing along. Good morning, happiness. Good morning, happiness. Good morning, happiness. What a fine day. What a fine day. What a fine day. What a fine day. Have you ever had a dream? The funny kind of dream that feels so real, where everybody was singing, banging a drum. I remember it still. Good morning, happiness. Good morning, happiness. Good morning, happiness. What a fine day. Good morning, happiness. Good morning, happiness. Good morning, happiness. What a fine day. Thanks.
Very nice, very nice.
Oh, here for a second tune. Haven't done this in a while. Yeah, I'll just give you another one. Another upbeat one, I think.
Cool.
Ready?
Yep, watch that.
It ain't the same old Cold War, Harry. It ain't the one you know. The sound of all that saber rattling makes the blood run cold. It ain't the same old Cold War, Harry. It ain't the one you know. It isn't black or white, Mayberry. The whole place could blow. I got a little girl a cutting teeth. A pretty wife who's in the bed. Rather be making love or making peace. Don't want to live a life of dread. It ain't the same old Cold War, Harry. Don't need a doomsday clock to be alarmed by all the stars you're wearing, the funny way you talk. It ain't the same old Cold War, Harry. No putting up your dukes. That kind of talk is getting all too scary. You better nix your nukes. It ain't the same old Cold War, Harry. It ain't the one you know. But could you not stand by that button? The whole place could blow. I got a little girl a cutting teeth. A pretty wife who's in the bed. Rather be making love or making peace. Don't want to live a life of dread. It ain't the same old Cold War, Harry. It ain't the same old war. It ain't the same old Cold War, Harry. Oh no, 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 no.
Awesome, very cool.
Cool. See you finally.